Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. The 2023 Pro Farmer Crop Tour is underway and scouts are getting ready to head out on day 2 of the tour.
Coverage of the 2023 Pro Farmer Crop Tour is brought to you by Pioneer. Pioneer combines cutting-edge research with one of the largest local testing programs in the industry to help farmers succeed. Pioneer, what's next happens here.
In the east, scouts are finishing up Indiana on their way to Bloomington, Illinois, while in the west, they will spend their entire day in Nebraska. But on day 1, big things were expected on the western leg and in South Dakota, an area that this time last year was more than 36% covered in drought. This year, just 14%, and very little drought in the severe and extreme categories. Ag Day's Michelle Rook is covering the western leg of the tour. Michelle, so far, so good.
Despite some variability, crop scouts on the western leg of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour here in South Dakota are finding a much better crop than they did in 2022, where this area was mostly ravaged by drought. Scout Sherman Newland says the moisture situation is nearly 180 degrees different on his route in the southeast versus 2022.
This is a lot better than last year. Last year was a complete drought, hit hard area, very low yields and everything. But this year, the South Dakota, this part has been catching a lot of rain.
However, there is variability, and for some, rains didn't start until the end of July.
Corn, I think some of the rains may have been too late. It might help test weight, but the ear length, the tip is already set, the round is already set, and so I don't know how much it will help the corn.
But the fields Newland surveyed didn't show any pollination problems.
No tip back here yet, no. No, ears are, as you can see, these are pretty long.
Their average on 8 stops was 180.7 bushels. That's 10 bushels below 2021 when the state had a record yield. Newland cautions that corn was late milk to early dough, so yield could be cut by this week's heat.
The dryness, coming up could shrink the grain depth a little bit and affect it some.
The late July, early August rains in the state are evident in the soybeans, which are green and looking much better than in 2022.
But our high counts are really strong. It's definitely above what we would normally see in the state here.
Pest pressure has also been light except for some pockets with grasshopper feeding. But even then, she thinks USDA's 42 bushel per acre average may be conservative.
Based on what we see here, if I continue to find some of those bigger pod counts here, I don't know. I think that we could see potentially a little higher in South Dakota, just given that yield estimate from USDA right now is so close to the past years.
But again, that's dependent on weather this week and the rest of the season. In South Dakota, I'm Michelle Rook reporting for Ag Day.
All right, thanks, Michelle. And a reminder about what USDA was expecting when it comes to yields. The August farmer survey is predicting a national corn yield of 175.1 for South Dakota. Expectations are for 145 bushels to the acre, an increase of 9.8% over last year. For soybeans, 50.9 bushels to the acre nationally, and another big increase for South Dakota at 42 bushels an acre. That's up 10.5% compared to 2022.